That was weird. I was getting everything taken care of and it just wouldn't go to done. We're going to get started with something here. I just want to look something up. And what is that thing called? Let's try that. Just looking something up here. Okay. Just waiting for people to show up here. One sec. I'm not. No. I want to. So it's Legion Go. Okay. It's pretty funny. Well, Friday, here we are. Oh, something else I have to look up because I found out last week. Let's go to Dusk Bloods. We're here. We're getting ready. We are going to, where's the website? There it is. We are going to be talking about something in particular. And let me just double check. Okay, so next week right, okay, so now me, account. You were selected to participate. On the 18th, all right, so I'll get something on the 18th. Okay, so anyway, it's Friday. Should close this window so you don't hear what's going on outside. It's a nice day out. Gaius! Woo! We got Gaius here, folks. Right at the beginning. I love it. I love it. What's going on, Gaius? It's a gorgeous day today here where I am. Finally, it's been raining pretty much every day all week, including yesterday morning from Wednesday night. It's a week before I play on the Dusk Bloods. I'm supposed to get a download code. That is true. You haven't been here. Well, last week I streamed late. It's because I went to meet my friend to go see Spider-Man for the second time, which I did say was better a second time. That's what happened last week. The week before, I think I was on early because I had to go to a party. But I'm here now. I'm going to be my typical loser self. Got nothing to do. Yeah, I heard that it's still hot. Listen, it'll change. Next year, you're probably going to be cold at this period of time. Or maybe not cold, but comfortable. I think next year we're going to be comfortable. It's all jet streams. I'm sure it's got a lot to do with humanity drilling oil, right? But whatever. But it's because of jet streams. So it'll be hot now. See, the thing about it is where you come from, my home country, we have records from long before. The problem with the United States when it comes to weather is that everything is a record-breaking whatever since like 1890. Because since the United States is always at least 100 years behind the rest of the planet, especially Europe, despite the fact that it's a European colony, whether or not it wants to believe that, we're so behind in everything here. So like I said, you'll hit 100 degrees in June and they'll say, this is a record-breaking day. We haven't had it this hot since like 1870. And you're going, yeah, because you weren't taking temperature readings or anything involving the weather in the 1700s. You weren't even here in the 1600s. So how the hell do you know it was the hottest day in history? And it's not even the hottest day in history, considering you're saying that there was a hotter day or whatever back in the 1890s. It's funny, too, because when you look at it, a lot of the terrible weather records come from, in this area, the 1800s in some way, shape, or form. So were they mining and drilling for oil and other things like that? Oh, thank you. Well, there's just one me. There's only one me. We're going to, oh, by the way, before I get into any of this stuff, anime note. So Japan is extraordinary. I want you all to know that I love Japan. I love every country in the United States. The United States isn't a country, so not in the United States, in the planet. The United States isn't a country, so me not liking this place, it's not a country, so it doesn't matter. But I love every country. Of course, I love my European brethren and my home country above all. But my God, do I love Japan. So I finished Date Alive. It's a 5-season series. And I thought that was the greatest show of all time. What a premise, right? Here's a guy, high school guy, all these gorgeous women. They all fall in love with him and everything. And we see some imagery that is far sexier than anything Hollywood can produce, because Hollywood is perverse, disgusting for reasons I can't get into. Then I watched one episode of High School DxD. Holy mother of God. This show is extraordinary. One episode. Now, I know the storyline is about demons and angels so far. And when you watch anime, and we're also watching Solo Leveling at this point, because the first part of Demon Slayer's trilogy of movies, the Infinity Castle Part 1, blew my fucking mind away. It was incredible. It was absolutely incredible. And that's the first part. There are 2 other parts. And just in case you're wondering, there is a plot to all of this, a very deep, thought-provoking, and thoroughly planned out plot to all these anime and whatever, for the most part. Some, like Dragon Ball Z and a little bit of Hunter x Hunter, kind of drag on and sort of miss the point after a while. But when it comes to Demon Slayer, the whole concept of who the real monsters are and how everybody's redeemable and everything, that is completely elicited in this first movie, because you see one of these demons, these high-ranking demons, or a couple of them, in a specific, I'm not going to give anything away, but in a precarious position, and you realize they were humans once too. And that's really the key to that. But we finished that series. Now we're watching Solo Leveling, which is about why those who are considered the lowest rank become the best. It's what I say about why professional sports in the United States is far superior years and years and years ago, and has gotten worse throughout the course of the last few decades and so on and so forth, mostly because rich people bought it out. And of course, rich people in the United States most directly are the most useless people on the fucking planet that don't know anything about earning a dime in their lives. So they then hire vicariously their types of people, rich kids who never earned a dime in their lives, and make it worse and worse throughout the courses of generations and decades. But what this show is, Solo Leveling, it's how a guy starts from zero and levels his way up, and it's incredible. What's also incredible is the fact that it has the voiceover actors and actresses. Now, granted, they do the same things over all these years, 1,000 different ways from Sunday, especially if you play Nintendo exclusives. You'll hear their voices 1,000 times over, but it has Midoriya from... Yeah, that's true. Yeah, totally. They work so much harder. Like all those steroids they take, all the pot they smoke, all the making it rain in the strip clubs, totally working harder than the guys that their lives revolved and depended on what they were doing. You're absolutely right, guys. That's why I keep you around, because you're a modifier. You got to be a modifier first. I think you are. I think I made you a modifier. Hold on. No. You're a moderator. Okay, so we're good. We're good. As long as you're a moderator. But yeah, the rich people all earned it because they're so much smarter than everybody else. Absolutely. But when it comes to Soul Leveling, you got Midoriya's voiceover actor, Zenitsu's from Dragon Slayer, which blew me out of the water because it sounds nothing like him. And sometimes when somebody does a voiceover character and then they do another one, you can sort of hear, and I can kind of hear when you're comparing Zenitsu either in his sleep or when he's serious, than when he's doing his usual screaming, Tanjiro, and all that stuff. But there's typically that tick that you can sort of get the voices and compare them and say, oh, yeah, this is the same person. It's very rare that happens with him. He's incredible. has All Might, because you got to have All Might, has Endeavor. It's like all these characters from My Hero Academia are all in this, and one from Demon Slayer. So that show is great, but High School DxD, it prompted me to change my settings to 18 plus. This is what I thought, what people believe anime really is. Hentai, porno. It's fucking gorgeous. Because me being who I am, I can't get enough tits, ass, vagina, brasiers, and panties. It's never enough for me. It's never enough. Now, I say this as a single 47-year-old scumbag. If I were married, I wouldn't say anything. I'd say never get enough of my wife. But because there isn't a wife that I would expect to be fully Italian, Roman Catholic, and everything that I'm with right now, or a woman that will become my wife, yeah, never enough. So I thought Date Alive with my Toka, with my Miyu, with all these, with my Reina, with my Miku, with all of those, and my beloved Origami, who she was my favorite. That's what I want. A pure, innocent woman of my background and everything. That's my crazy slut. Nobody else's. Because I would be her crazy slut. That's for sure. But I thought just one episode of this show and my eyes had to uncross themselves. It's incredible. So yeah, I'm watching that now. I'm going to go through that and then I'm going to watch a few other things. But now I'm not obsessed with trying to find shows like Date Alive. I'm trying to find shows like High School DxD because I'm a disgusting, perverted, degenerate, and I need as many ladies as I possibly, even if they're cartoon women, as I could possibly get. So that's where we are with anime. Now, the reason why I wanted to present this specific live stream, which is kind of like a video for me, and guys, I'm pretty sure you're hearing it. There's a game coming out. Nobody gives a fuck, right? Nobody cares. And what happens with Western biased anything, media of any kind, entertainment, whatever, is that if there isn't anything there, like the WNBA, they have to come up with a controversy because the United States, more so than anywhere else, is filled with the lowest forms of life who love to rubberneck a train wreck. So the United States, who has no belief, no civility, no religion too. It's not hard if you tried it. The United States is the worst society on this planet, the most debauched, disgusting excuse of a society in this world. They do not care about anything here other than take my money and is this a train wreck? They want a circus sideshow. And I think somewhere deep inside, I believe, this is just my theory, that the reason is because the people of the United States realize that the lies and propaganda and indoctrination, that life here sucks on a level that can't be considered fathomable for the most part. And so they just want to see people worse off than they are. That's what I believe. It empowers the United States citizen. So here's this game that, because it's an independent, because it's Western biased, because the fact that it is played on PC, PlayStation, and Xbox, it has to look exactly like the same thing you've seen 1,000 fucking times over. It's another one of these medieval European bullshit artist type games where you play as a knight or a fledgling whatever, squire wanting to be, whatever the hell it is, just like Kingdom Come, and you go through and you live some RPG type life and whatever. It looks totally unimpressive. It looks almost like Crimson Desert. I don't even know what the name is. Like, you know, when they say something in the United States, they have like advertisement. Well, that got my attention. Yeah, but you don't even recognize what is being advertised. I don't even remember what this game's called. Could be called anything. But the controversy once more, because there was a game where, of course, seeing as how Western Europe biasing itself towards the United States, or the United States itself, had to create a game where, hey, we heard some rumor that Catholicism is starting to spread in the United States again, which I do not see by any stretch of the imagination. But I guess because Erica Cunt and JD Fuckface, the squirrel man over there, because they claimed they converted to Catholicism, which is a crock of shit. I guess that just makes people believe that so many Roman Catholic people, we're losing schools and churches, but that's okay. Doesn't matter. Suddenly everyone's converting to Catholicism here. Whatever the case, exactly right. Whatever the case, this other game that involved two women who were into each other, because we've not got enough of that in so-called AAA gaming, and they're so realistic looking that they're ugly as sin. One of them's got the Squire boy haircut, the page boy, the little pumpkin pie haircutted freak thing. And the other one was supposedly becoming a nut. But once more, we have to make the story that Catholicism controls you. When Catholicism makes you a free thinker and frees you from certain reliances on a debauched life that are unhealthy. Tattoos, drinking, promiscuous sexual relations, stuff like that. But that's being controlled according to so-called liberals. Now, that game got controversy. It sold dick, right? Don't even remember what that game was called. But people insisted that we had to talk about it because, once again, women are in love. You cannot, in the United States or any of this forward progressive thinking, imagine a woman being independent and not being a fucking whore that wants to have sex with another woman. You can't do that here. It's impossible because this is such a feminist place. It's misogynistic here. Sorry to tell you. But now we have the antithesis. 1 year later, now we have this game where people are freaking out because there are two women who are attractive, representative as attractive women. Okay, cool. As I've mentioned, can't get enough boobs, vagina, ass, brasiers, and panties for me. Can't get enough. So just keep bringing all these gorgeous women on. But as I'm playing the remaster of Oblivion, which asks for you to pick type 1 or type 2 body types as opposed to just male, female, I'm being reminded of how stupid this society is as we're talking about another game that, once more, I have no clue what this is. You could just show me the highlights, show me the trailers, and I'd be like, oh, yeah, Crimson Desert, right? Isn't that what that is? Oh, wait, it's not Crimson Desert? Whatever. But the big controversy now to not sell this game, even though it's trying to sell this game with controversy, is that there are two women, one can be a romance option, who are very nice-looking women, very attractive, somewhat voluptuous, and people are freaking out again because, well, this is not fair standards and blah, 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 blah. Meanwhile, I go to work and see better-looking women with better bodies than the ones in these video games, and I'm just like, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? Why do you have to make it, if you're such feminists, that women are incapable of handling that there are nice-looking women in video games? Most legitimate women, biological women, don't fucking play these games. So they don't fucking care. So a lot of these women that want to, I don't know, get married, have kids, maybe work a job, make their own money, they don't fucking care about whether or not women look like men or women or act like men in video games. They don't care. Okay? This is discourse between wannabe journalists and critics that are called influencers because they pay for views. Or as Guy said, they worked hard for those views. Sure they did. By the way, like and subscribe. Otherwise, I'm going to curse you. But the thing that I laugh about is, let's get down to brass tacks. I don't care if Google auto search turned into a so-called AI that just gives you more words to look through when you're looking something up on Google. Claims that 1.3 billion people, pretty much as many people, play PC games as there are Catholics on this planet, Roman Catholic. I don't care what they say. When I'm saying PC gamer, okay, what I mean is somebody who is willing to spend $2,000 on an Alienware or is willing to buy a 400 PC discount on eBay and then spend another 700 plus to get a new graphics card, motherboard, CPU. I'm talking about the people that play PC games exclusively like it's a console. I'm not talking about people that download Candy Crush Saga on their cell phones and, hey, well, it's a Google phone or it's a Mac phone, so obviously you're playing on PC. I'm talking about the real. How many are there in this planet? 2 million? 3 million? How many can legitimately buy the expensive shit necessary to play PC games that have to run the modern day software? How many? Most of them are influencers on the internet, so there aren't that many at all. And if you look at the Lenovo handheld that was supposed to be another bit of stiff competition for Nintendo Switch, it hasn't even reached 4 million sales yet. Not even 4 million. And one of the models is about the same price as a Switch 2. So, here is a PC biased game. Because Xbox has fallen off the face of the earth, no one's buying it. Although there was an article that it sold 300% more, and Sony and Nintendo consoles it sold 18 in 1 month, and Sony and Nintendo sold, Nintendo sold hundreds of thousands in a month or whatever. Sony sold a couple thousand. Because I'll still never understand why people buy. I had to talk one of my Greek friends off a ledge yesterday because he was insisting he had to get a PS5. I'm like, why? Just get a fucking Switch 2. Why would you get a PS5? I don't understand at this point. But at this stage of legitimate console gaming, the Switch 2 has broken the sales record for the first year. It's not even close. Nintendo itself has said, I'm getting like these fucking United States and English numbnuts with the constantly using as singular as a plural. Nintendo itself posted the numbers and said that it sold almost 24 million consoles in a year. Okay? 24 million. That's about 19 million after the record-breaking release month of last June, where in less than 30 days, the Switch 2 sold 5.5 million consoles. On top of that, software sales are through the roof because of the Switch 2. Everyone's buying Switch 2s. Everyone's buying Switch 2 games, exclusives, whatever. So it is the most popular gaming console out there. Whether or not we want to count PC gamers that are still playing Sims 2 on their 8-year-old PCs as PC, and you can, the legitimate, modern, current generation PC gaming community can't be greater than a few million. The most popular console is pre-selling the most popular game in Fire Emblem Fortune's Weave. Yeah, no, I guess so. They would count. Yeah, that would count because it's Steam. What they're talking about is like anyone that does Steam or Origin or, like I said, downloads applications on their cell phones, whatever, that's PC gamers. If it doesn't get linked to a Sony account or a Nintendo or an Xbox account, that's PC gaming according to that record. Because you can't tell me that there are 1.3 billion people that play. That's ridiculous. If that was the case, then so many of these PC exclusives or so many of these PC-centric games wouldn't like bomb all the time. Because if you had 1.3 billion sellers or buyers, any stupid game like That's Not My Mom or whatever, at least 2 million people would just buy the dumb shit for the sake of buy, which is one of the reasons why those stupid ass games get made. Because they know that there are so many PC gamers, at least one of these idiots, like every 200,000 would buy it. And that would be enough if there were 1.3 billion players to make it, accountable. It never works, but therein lies the case. Whatever the case, Fortune's Weave right now is selling out everywhere. Pre-sales, I try to pre-order. The Dagda collection was already sold out. And I mean, I went there 3 days after it was like announced officially in the last Nintendo Direct. This is the most popular game right now on the internet, in real life, whatever. Every single woman in this game is fucking stunning. Everyone. Everyone's voluptuous. They have a nun who uses gauntlets because that is a priestly type weapon in Fire Emblem. And she's gorgeous. And she's got a great body. They have Myleda, one of the main characters. She's gorgeous. She has a great body. She's barely clothed. Theodora, another one of my loves. Gorgeous. You get the point. Every one of the women in this game, stunning. What do I give a fuck about this independent game? What do I care? Why are we having this conversation still? On either side of the United States bi-party concept, which, by the way, this isn't a bipartisan, it's not bipartisan. It is a one-party dictatorship. It's whatever party your state insists has to rule your state through the iron fist of the billionaires that lobby them. That's all the United States is. Most governments are run by lobbyists, but some governments have to rely on a social vote. The United States does not. The United States rigs elections up the ass, including the so-called president, which I laugh at people that say the president is the most powerful man in the world. Yeah, okay. Whatever you think, okay? The president has no authority whatsoever. What you're trying to say is that a group of rich landowners who decided to make themselves into the ruling body of the government decided themselves to implement a president to control them? Yet no, especially since it's a president that apparently gets voted in by the people, who never gets voted in by the people because it's based off an electoral college, which is also dictated. But whatever the case, the bipartisan thing is a joke. What it is it's somebody reacts, other people have to either agree with it or they have to argue with it. That's it. So in this case, with this independent game nobody gives a flying fuck about, it's probably going to bomb. It's probably not going to sell anything unless it gets re-released on the Switch 2, which it probably will, if the Nintendo feels that it's worthy of it. We're going to talk about beautiful women or nice-looking women and whether or not that's unfair to women who aren't even play the fucking game. Meanwhile, the most popular game, which is going to sell millions of copies and is going to be the talk of the town for at least the first 2 months it's out, Fire Emblem Fortune's Weave's already selling out pre-orders everywhere. And if Nintendo were to release a bundle with it, which they probably will, the Nintendo Switch 2 will be jacked up in sales even more so as we count down to it probably being the highest selling console of all time until it gets to 160 plus million consoles sold. And then out of nowhere, the PlayStation 2 will sell another 5 million Phantom consoles and it'll just, still be the highest selling console. Whatever the case. But this is the most popular game and it's loaded with gorgeous half-naked women. Why do I fucking care about this? Why are we talking about this? Why? And this is getting more play on my channel than anything related to Fire Emblem Fortune's Weave. Why? There was a short about somebody who I thought considered themselves a male complaining about Theodora's makeup, not her makeup, like her design, because it's not rational. It's fan service. And what's the problem with that? What's the problem with that? In fact, I showed her model to my mother, who's a 71-year-old woman, and she said, "Oh, that's cool. What's your point?" And she had to go through the waif look when certain people, I will not repeat, rich people, had an obsession with women that you could see their ribs and sternum bones. I wonder why. What was that thing about Epstein Island? Oh, wait. We're not supposed to talk about that. That's just, again, Epstein Island, that's the tip of the iceberg. That's not even remotely close to what these fuckers are into, all right? That actually had grown women in it. No offense. But whatever the case, this is what's going on with people's conversation on the internet. It's just so stupid. It's so stupid. The game's not going to do any good. Who cares? It's going to be forgotten like the other one. But why are you wasting so much time on this topic? Who fucking cares? Nobody's buying like legitimate PC. No one's buying a fucking Steam box. In fact, I can look that up too. Let's look up the Steam box. Because I know the Steam Deck isn't selling dick. What about the Steam box? June 29th. Okay, so it was just released about 2 months ago. And it is sold Alrighty. Steam machines between 12K and 15K sold per week. Right. Well, yeah. Well, I'll tell you this. That's overrated too. And I'm going to explain to you why. I'm glad you brought that up, guys. I'm going to explain to you why in just a second, because that's another bit of discourse I'm tired of fucking hearing. So in 2 months, not even a month and a half, they're claiming that the Steam machine is selling 12 to 15,000 consoles a week. They're not even at 100,000 consoles. It was just released. Nobody fucking cares. This is my point. If you could get it in a Steam box, if you can get it on a handheld, no one's buying these. Steam Deck hasn't reached 10 million sales. It's been out for years. How in the motherfuck are you trying to convince me that legitimately 1.3 billion people are playing on PC? That's a joke. That's a joke. But let's get into what you're saying too, because the whole thing about, the most popular game has the most gorgeous women, and we're not going to talk about it. We're not going to say thank you, Nintendo, yet again, because you're putting this stupid ass bullshit to rest. No. We're talking about a game no one's going to play that's PC centric. It is to an extent. Well, it's the best thing to do is just get a Switch too, but whatever. But the thing about that with the pricing, I'll say it one more time. I'm poor. I've been poor my whole life. I don't want to hear these people who can waste so much money on filling their bookshelves with old, new video games and paraphernalia and shit, complaining about the price of gaming and how it's going to do this, that, and the other. There's not going to be a gaming crash. And you want to know why? When I was a kid, if there was a dollar store, it would pretty much be called a supermarket. All right. Everything was $1 or less when I was growing up. We're talking prehistoric times. And the first console that I got that was not like a ColecoVision or whatever, the Nintendo Entertainment System, was about $300. Now, it came with 2 games, a zapper, a ROB, and 2 controllers. Okay, cool. Still about $300. Spent all my first community money on it. Video games range from about $25 to $50, maybe even $60 in the 80s. Okay? Gas prices in the 80s were about $1.20 a gallon, maybe $1.40. When you look at how the cost of living has gone up, right, exactly. That's my point. When you look at inflation, now granted, especially here in the United States, inflation has gone beyond human comprehension. It's ridiculous. Gas shouldn't be $4. Food shouldn't be what it is. Clothing shouldn't be what it is. And I keep laughing at people. Well, if gas prices go up, what does that have to fucking do with digital sales of anything? What does that have to do with anything that doesn't require shipping? What does that have to do with anything like getting a movie ticket? What does that have to do with gas prices? So what? Because they use trucks to go to Hollywood? That raises no, that's bullshit. They raise the price on everything because they raise the price on everything. Because they know you're going to buy it. They make you need it. And especially here in the United States, where the majority of the people are so fucking brain dead, if they see something that costs money, they have to throw money they don't even have at it. So when it comes to $80 games, yeah, a $100 digital game, that's fucking horseshit. And GTA 6 has not shown any reason for any interest in it whatsoever. But obviously, 30 million numbnuts will pre-order it because they're 30 million numbnuts. But whatever the case, which I keep saying, and I'm sorry I keep transitioning to with whatever the case, however you want to look at it, when it comes to inflation, the Switch 2 is $450 at this point. It'll go up to $500. $500 for a console that has a controller or a couple of controllers and comes with every game you've ever had on the Switch 1. With the ability to play it, the ability to spread it on other consoles that don't have these games, that's $500. A video game is $60, $70, $80. Some are even $20, some are even $9, some are even $4, some are even free. So why is it that people are freaking out about prices of video games? People are going to pay for them because we've been buying video games and video game consoles forever. Now, $800 for a PlayStation? No, you know why? Not because it's $800, because it's $800 for another shitty Sony console that sucks and will burn out in about 2 years and has no games. $500, $600 for an Xbox? No, because Xbox has no games. All that money for PC? Maybe, because PC has more access to certain real-time strategy games or throwaway porno game, whatever. But the reason why the Switch 2 is the most expensive Nintendo console, and it's outselling, right, it's all digital now. So there you go. They're saving money on that too. But it's outselling every console in the history of consoles because the Switch 2 has great games. And when the Segas of the world and the Neo Geos and everything, when they went out of business, what were they doing when they were trying to sell their consoles? Selling graphics. Please tell me the PlayStation 5 exclusives that it came out with. The Xbox exclusives that came out, Xbox Series 1, whatever, that they came out. Explain to me, please give me a list. Nintendo releases a Switch 2, Mario Kart World. Bam. That's all you need to know. Plus all the games that were exclusive or otherwise from the Switch 1, completely backwards compatible digitally anyway. And a few other third-party re-releases that got ported over. But right there, June, Mario Kart World, which everyone was trying to make it seem as if there's nothing to this game, and over a year later, people are still buying the game more so than pretty much any game out there. And and people were buying it anyway, and not in a bundle. Month 2, Donkey Kong Bonanza. Should have won Game of the Year. Bam, there's another one. See, this is what I'm talking about. The only things that the PlayStation 5 had been coming out with in that thing's first 2-3 years were coming out in the 4. So it didn't matter anyway. You could have just kept the 4. So as this keeps continuing where you're not releasing good games and they're still trying to sell their Wolverine, which, again, these fucking frames per second dipshits with the, how come Wolverine's only getting 60 frames? Who gives a fuck? I'll give you a hint. Women are going to fall in love, okay? In the end, somewhere, someone's going to be probably Jean Grey and fucking Mystique, because despite the fact Mystique is one of the more notorious villains in the comic books, according to Fox's movies, she's like one of the original fucking X-Men. Where did that come from? Oh, yeah, she was like Professor Xavier's sister. Yeah, okay. Whatever you say, man. Now, I don't give a shit about fucking comic books or whatever. They're for geeks and children. But if you're going to base something off the comic books, stop changing the characters in the comic books. But this talk about expenses that people will pay. People are paying for a fucking Steam machine. Now, it probably won't ever reach 3 million sales, but there were enough morons that bought a $1,200 to $1,500 machinery that doesn't even have a controller just because it plays games they might like. Stop complaining about gaming prices. I swear, I get these people, these rich kids that had everything handed to them. They're trying to relate to poor people like me. I don't fucking care. I spent $500 plus $600 on the Switch 2 and Cyberpunk and Street Fighter 6 because I wanted to see what Nintendo can do with this technology. And my God, are they doing some incredible shit. This is the greatest console I've ever had. So I have no problem spending the money I have. I have no problem spending the money I'm going to spend. Do I plan it out and budget? Of course, because I'm poor. But that doesn't mean I'm going to stop. It doesn't mean I'm not going to get the Dusk Bloods. It doesn't mean I'm not going to get Elden Ring for $80. It doesn't mean that because I want to enjoy my miserable fucking life. All right? And if you can give me that opportunity, I'm all for it. Why did I spend $60-something on an old game that got remastered, a game I played 1,000 hours? Because I played it for 1,000 hours before. I'll put another few hundred hours into it now. Why not? It's fun. It's enjoyable. I'll try to flirt with all the type 1s that don't flirt back because the game wasn't built for that. Who gives a shit? Why did I get Skyrim and Fallout 4, even though I never really finished Fallout 4? Because it was on sale and I needed something to live stream. So I don't give a shit about price of games. They've always been expensive. It's always been a pretty costly niche enjoyment. Always. Stop bitching about it. Stop. That's not a topic of conversation. All digital, $700, $800 consoles because of all the microchips and all this other horse shit that they keep claiming. Doesn't matter. Sony is hitting a schneid because the Switch 2 has better games. Xbox is going to fucking hell where it belongs because Switch 2 has better games. The Switch 2 is the highest selling console of all time at this point because, what's that, kids? Better games. That's all people care about. So the Switch 2 can be $600, $650 if the Duskbloods, the Ocarina of Time re-release, a new Mario game, if Fortune's Weave, if these games are what they're advertised to be, people will buy the fucking console. And you know what you're not going to hear? Poor people like me bitching about how they had to spend $600 on a Switch 2. It's not going to slow the fucking sales down. The $450 Switch 2 was supposed to destroy Nintendo completely. And it's selling more than any console in the history of consoles. So I'm glad that my good friend Guys brought that up because I am so tired of hearing Player Essence or Nintendo Prime or any of these guys complain about, well, I don't agree with anything Nintendo does. I don't fucking care if you don't agree with it. Who gives a shit? That makes you relevant to this? Hey, you know what? I am not someone you could talk to about why sports were better in the United States years and years and years ago, because I just watched sports back then, and I really liked sports back then. Well, how fucking stupid is that? I do the research. I know better. I do the research on what, if you buy all these consoles and you buy Sony and Microsoft and everything, and you know Nintendo is the best to its consumers, gives you the most bang for your buck, has the best games, what do you fucking care if people call you a fucking fanboy? It's just a fact. Just state the facts. Stop with this, well, I don't agree with everything. I don't fucking care if you don't agree. Yeah, I don't agree with everything corporations do anyway. Thank you, Gaius. I don't agree with anything a corporation does. Corporations are the fucking bile and bane of the human race. But if I had to lie in bed with a corporation, it would be Nintendo because I know they know how to love me. All right? Sony, Microsoft, they do some weird, crazy shit and chain me up to a wall and probably kill me. I don't want to be near that. I don't want to be near anything Microsoft does. I don't want to be near anything Sony does. And Sony's a Japanese corporation, more or less. They're trying to be. You see, that's what I love about Sony and Sony fucking fans. You guys are so pathetic. You try so hard to act like you're the pinnacle of gaming and everything like that, that nobody comes near you. And yet every fucking turn, Sony is trying so desperately to copy Nintendo. Why do they have a showcase every few months? Because of Nintendo Direct. Why on the showcase do they have their Japanese representation speaking in Japanese? Because that's what Nintendo does. Why did they make a fucking game that was just a 3D Mario ripoff twice and win Game of the Year? Because they're trying to be Nintendo. Why was there talk about them having a hybrid, despite the fact that the assholes bragging about that were the first to make it seem like Nintendo just has a handheld you project on a TV and it's not even worth like $40? Because they're trying to copy Nintendo because they know it works. It's not going to work for you assholes because all you've got is to sell another wide-eyed, dogged version of a beautiful woman in Deborah Ann Wall in Laufey, which is just your version of Senua's Sacrifice, and a Wolverine game that's going to suck dick. That's all you got. I got my stunning babes in Fire Emblem Fortune's Weave. I got these two buttes, and this is the best. This was the best game of last year, and this is the best Metroid Prime game ever made. And I've played all of them. Oh, wait, I can't tell you about that because I played all the Metroid Prime games. So obviously I have a biased opinion on that because you're a fucking moron. It's called doing the research, assholes. And I got this little butte, 2 hours worth of my time, and it's been great 2 hours. Fucking great. And I'm going to go back and I'm going to get the Switch 2 version of Xenoblade Chronicles 2. I'm going to buy the Switch 2 upgrade for Xenoblade Chronicles 1. I'm going to get Xenoblade Chronicles X Switch 2 version and 3. You know why? Because those are phenomenal games. You know it sucks? God of War, any one of them, any generation of them. Yeah, I feel like I'm having a power fantasy with the God of War as I tightrope over a pit of fire I'm supposedly capable of surviving. What a fucking concept. Hey, here's another statue you have to pull and push somewhere else. Wow, puzzles, people. Fucking morons. Fucking morons. I can't get over how stupid people are. The internet is just so loaded with fucking morons, and they make all this money, they get laid. It's incredible to me. It's incredible to me. Mostly because the ones here in the United States. If you got money, you could be just a bulbous mess of sludge, and you can get whatever you want in the United States. It's hilarious to me. But I can't, when I hear that shit, well, I don't agree with everything Nintendo. I don't fucking care if you don't agree. I don't care. Let me ask you, Nintendo, Sony, or Microsoft, in terms of consumer-friendly corporations. If you said anybody but Nintendo, you're an idiot. It's not even like a matter of debate or opinion. You have no intelligence when it comes to that topic anyway. Microsoft and Sony will fuck you. They will fuck you hard. They always do. Red rings of death, operating systems crashing, controllers breaking, the bumpers falling off, having it spin the thing upside down, overheating, crashing operating. The shit that you got to deal with Sony and Microsoft is totally not worth the price and totally not worth the lack of gaming library. Sorry to tell you, all you have, third party. So you better hope and pray that the From Softwares come up with something, that the Capcoms come up with something, that, well, I can't say Square Enix, because aside from Dragon Quest, Square Enix hasn't come up with jack shit. And Dragon Quest, Dragon Warrior was originally an Enix game series. They just stole it. There's Berea. They're waiting for you. But you have to rely on these third parties because your first party is nothing. Dishonored, Forza, the Pilot Wings ripoff. It's nothing. It's nothing. You have nothing. I would still prefer Xbox if I had to choose between Sony or Xbox, but they still suck ass, and I would never buy another one of those consoles. Never. Forget Sony. Fuck Sony. Fuck them. Sony can't go out of business fast enough for me. Fuck them. That is bile from way back when I was in before I even hit my teens, and you'd get a Sony TV that would blow up in 2 months. No, fuck Sony. Fuck you. Go out of business. Do the planet a fucking favor. Go out of fucking business. You rich people will get jobs somewhere else anyway, especially the ones here in the United States. You'll get it. You'll be in a failing, sunken ship, and they'll make you CEO somewhere else to make stupid-ass decisions. Fuck Sony. Microsoft, too. Windows 11, I'll keep saying it. Windows 11 is just pure evil. It's the worst. I had to have another series of updates that required a series of restarts just the other day after last week having to do the same thing. And my friend blames my PC. Like, no, name my PC, man. It's Windows fucking 11. Two worst couple. Anybody else, man. And not Steam. Get out of here with that. All digital, by the way. Does Steam have physical copies of anything? That's another one. Oh, they're taking away digital. They're taking away physical copy. Dude, if you're going to get a Steam anything, it's going to be digital. I'm missing something? Steam has physical copies? Since when? It's a fucking downloadable application that you download shit on. I could be wrong. You could probably buy physical copies off Steam. Would have fooled me. But whatever the case, all these arguments, all this discourse, all this stupid shit to get views and everything, you're just talking out your assholes. People don't care. If you have good video games, people will buy your console, whether it's $500, $400, $1,000. It's not buying a car. It's not buying another extension on the house. It's not $30,000, $40,000. We're not there yet. And people will buy $78, $80 games. It's not a big fucking deal. And no, Nintendo's not going to stop making physical copies because Nintendo makes physical copies. That's just how it's going to go. But even if they did, what the fuck does it matter? They're going to take away your ownership. Sony will, maybe. Microsoft might. Nintendo's not. Capcom's not. Most of the companies aren't because there's this thing called a user end agreement and a terms and conditions agreement. And more or less, there are buyer laws in your favor that say that when you buy something, it's yours forever. Now, if it was a monthly subscription to something that you had to gain access to a certain server, yeah, the server can go down. They can take the server down. But if it's a game that you bought, they can't just take your game away. It's not how that works. I bought this pack of gum. Nope, wait, we got to take it back. How do you figure that one? They can't. It's against the law. You know the lawsuits that they would face if they just start taking people's ownerships of games away? Like, you got to be out of your fucking mind. Because they'd be taken away from some rich kids too, and rich kids complain by suing people. So yeah, they'll Sony and Microsoft will do some sneaky shit, but ultimately, if you're the consumer, you have the power. You got to utilize it. You can't let them take your shit away. You can't let them claim that it's a subscription. No, it was a game I bought. And then they won't be able to do it. But you won't. You'll sit there and take it up the ass when they screw you over. Nintendo won't. But even so, if that was the case, Nintendo can just then take like a cartridge like this and say, well, it's playing off a server and we can take the server down. That's another thing, too, when people complain about the key card. Dude, shut the fuck up about the key card. Look, you get a key card, you download the fucking game. When you're done with it, you trade it back into GameStop. What's the fucking problem? What's the problem? It's, like, I don't understand. Like, there's so many complaints on the internet I'm just fucking tired of. Okay, but like I was saying, Switch 2 is the highest selling console in the history of consoles, despite how expensive it is, despite how greedy Nintendo is, despite all these idiotic storylines and made-up bullshit to sabotage Nintendo's good graces and appearance to the public. The Switch 2 is still the highest selling console of all time at this point. And Fire Emblem Fortune's Weave is the highest selling game so far that hasn't come out yet, aside from Grand Theft Auto 6, which is all digital, and they had everyone pre-order, which I think those numbers are skewed anyway, but whatever the case, just so that they can say, well, we're sure it's coming out in November. We're sure it is. Pretty sure. Okay. Where's the gameplay footage? It's somewhere. It's going to get delayed. I mean, like, within 2 weeks before, it's going to get delayed. Watch out in October for the delay. It's coming. And some of that delay will be because they're trying to port it onto the Switch too, but, you know, whatever the case. And they can port it on the Switch too. Don't give me this shit they can't port it on the... Well, how? How you play the game already? How do you know they can't port it on the Switch too? How do you figure that one? Cyberpunk 2077, which is a very demanding game, which, by the way, couldn't run at all, more or less, on PlayStation 4 and Xbox One, which apparently the Switch 2 is, according to people that don't know shit about technology. That game was released on an SD card completely on the Switch 2 with the DLC and ran perfectly fine. Perfectly fine. So why can't Grand Theft Auto 6? There are too many non-playable characters that have the same body type that just shake their asses in the middle of nowhere for no reason. What exactly makes Grand Theft Auto 6 so punishing on a server or on a CPU or whatever that the Switch 2 can't run it? They'll get it on the Switch 2 if it's worth Nintendo's time. But they'll get it on the Switch 2. Absolutely. So whatever with that, but Fortune's Weave is the most popular game that's coming out soon. And what are we talking about? Some bullshit independence fucking attempt at medieval Europe where we have guys screwing around with women all over the place and nuns wanting to be with women. Yeah, you're totally accurate on that one, man. Do you understand? Like, I know that you faithless, self-righteous, degenerate cocksuckers. I know you don't understand religion, which is about civility more than it is about being controlled, which you're all fucking controlled anyway, so I don't know what you're talking about. But the way it worked back in medieval Europe was that you were a guy and you had to marry a woman. You didn't even have any choice in this matter for the most part. You were close to a family. They had a daughter. You were a son. You had to do what your father did, and you had to marry that woman and have 15 kids. That's what it was. Everybody was scared shitless that God would strike them down to hell if they did anything off kilter. So the concept that you would break out of a convent or that a kid would be screwing with a 16-year-old before they were even remotely married was acceptable, and then he'd fuck around with other... No, that is not medieval Europe. That's hardly even some places in the United States at this fucking point. You're out of your mind. You want to make these games relatable to people in this day and age. So anybody that tries to act like, well, this game was authentic and that, like Assassin's Creed was ever authentic, yeah, bullshit. Every single city in Assassin's Creed looks exactly the same. The dilapidated buildings are in the exact same spot. The towers are in the exact same spot that you have to eagle eye on. Everything, the beggars become mandolin players, they're all in the same area. It's bullshit. People weren't fucking around like fucking rabbits unless they were rich landowners. It was against God's law. Everything was God's, maybe in the United States, but what I'm saying in Europe, was it funny as an Italian seeing the main Italian protagonist who somehow was connected to a guy from 1000 AD Jerusalem and somehow connected to a guy from like the native area of the United States? Was it hilarious to see him get chased down by a dad when he was messing with his daughter behind her back and the back of the guy that she was engaged with? It was funny. Was it realistic? Zero. No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. Especially not in a high-standing society. No, would not be done. Sorry, you don't know what you're fucking talking about. So all this relatability that people are bitching about when it comes to conservatism over liberalism, they do the same thing, just that if it's a man with a woman or whatever, you guys have no problem with it. So you don't know what you're talking about. You're all fucking morons. But you're the ones with the influence. So in order to solve this problem, let me just say this once again. For those of you that were watching now, for those of you that will be watching in the future, like, subscribe. Stop it, this fucking thing hit me in my face. Like and subscribe this channel. I've hit my wall again. YouTube does this all the time to us smaller channels. We get to a certain point. It looks like we can build some momentum, and then they just stop referring us to anybody. Like, we get no referrals. I don't get any referrals to begin with. But now it's getting to that point where I cannot get another subscriber. We need to get to 1,000 subscribers. We got to start getting people to watch these videos. The Bookman is here for you. And I'm just letting you all know, if I can sum this up, fuck Sony and Microsoft. Do yourself a favor. Get a Switch 2. You'll thank me for it. When you're playing Fortune's Weave for 10,000 hours, you're getting the tarnished edition of Elden Ring, and it runs better, and it looks better, and it's more fun to play because your friends are on there. It's not something... Yeah, thank you, guys. You have a great weekend too, guys. Always a pleasure to have you. Love you guys. Love everybody that has supported me. Love everybody that hasn't. And fuck everybody now that I think about it. Love everybody that hasn't. Anyone here now or in the future. God bless you, beautiful people. And we'll be back next week with more. Well, I will tell you next week, because don't forget, next week is the first day of the open Duskbloods, closed Duskbloods server network test. That's next week, next Friday. This month feels like it's going fast because it started on, like, I think a Sunday or something like that. No, it started on Saturday. So the weeks when you get through your work week, it's like, it's single digits, then it's double digits, then it's, it feels like it's going faster. So next week, we're going to be doing the Duskbloods. I'm going to try to figure out whether or not I want to stream it on Twitch or on my gaming channel on YouTube. But I'll figure that out, and we're going to talk about how this game looks so far, what the network test has granted me at that stage, and what I'm going to do with it in the future. I'll see you all soon.